As the summer travel season approaches, I'm excited to let you know about 2 upcoming Taste Travels, our immersive travel series hosted by cookbook authors and me, Matt Rodbard. On June 15th, I will be joining the Mediterranean dish author Susie Carace in Barcelona for an incredible week of culinary tours, cooking classes, and plenty of wine and jamon. And on September 15th, I will be joining author and baker Mauricio Leo of The Perfect Loaf for a tour of northern Italy. We will visit artisanal Parmigiano Reggiano and balsamic vinegar producers, take a masterclass in the art of panettone, and of course, eat plenty of stuffed pasta and mortadella in and around Emilia-Romagna. Both trips are nearly sold out and closing soon. If interested, write into hello@tastecooking.com and we will get you the information. That's hello@tastecooking.com. I hope to see you on one of our taste travels this summer.
I don't believe in small cookies. I would much rather have a gigantic cookie that you split in half and only eat half of than just having a small cookie and eating the whole thing, because then you can get way more doughy innards. The center is the best part, right?
Definitely
So
agree.
just maximize that.
This is Taste. I'm your host, Matt Rodbard. It was really fun having Molly Yeh back into the studio for an absolute riot of a conversation. Molly is legitimately one of the funniest writers and guests that we've encountered in a long time and has amazing recipe writing chops to boot. On this episode, we get into all sorts of topics, including her latest book about Midwest baking, Sweet Farm. We talk about Minnesota's deep cookie salad traditions, the genius of furikake puppy chow, and what it's like to live on a sugar beet farm. I love catching up with Molly, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Molly Yeh, welcome to This Is Taste. Welcome back. How are you?
Matt, I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here.
We had a legendary first conversation like 2.5 years ago.
Hallmark movies.
We talked about Hallmark movies, talked about Little House on the Prairie.
We talked about Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, definitely. Talked about like Harriet Olsen.
You're cheating because you just listened.
I know. I had it. Okay.
I didn't do my homework.
You didn't do your homework. I did it. But anyways, I'm going to link to that. It's a really great conversation, and it sets up your world and a little bit of your history. But I have many more questions. First off, Sweet Farm. It's your recent book. Love it. I'm
Thank you.
really into your books. And I said this before. You really consider everything, and you're a very funny writer. So
Thank you for validating that. I steal half of my jokes from my husband, but
so you have like a little bit of a writer's room.
we do have a, yes.
Writer's room. They call that in Hollywood.
Post-bedtime, doing the dishes.
Yeah.
It's our writer's room.
You guys riff a little bit, have the one-liners. But no, really, it's an incredible book, and it covers pastry and baking from your worldview, which, you know, is really, really unique and cool. You lived in the East Coast. You now live in Minnesota. You're from Chicago, Chinese Jewish. Like, it's all there and wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's been one of these books that I've always dreamt about writing. I always knew I wanted to write a sweets book, but I always knew that it could not be my first book because I just couldn't. Do we swear on this show?
We can go there.
Fuck it up.
Yeah. It's definitely, baking books are pretty precise.
They're very precise, and you just have to do it in order to truly learn how to write a cookbook. And so it wasn't going to be my first one. It wasn't going to be my second one. And then after Home is Where the Eggs Are, I finally felt like I love this team that I am working with. I feel so supported. I feel like my recipe writing has gotten to a place where I can truly express myself to the level that I want to. And I knew it was time.
Yeah. It's true. We'll get into this, but I have a few questions off the jump. Now, I usually ask, folks who lived in New York and come back where you're going. But I peeked on the gram, and I saw that you were at S&P.
Mm-hmm.
And is it true that you had a tuna melt for the first time?
First tuna melt ever.
Today?
Yesterday. Yep, 24 hours ago.
What?
Why?
Why?
I'm not a tuna salad person. Never been a tuna salad person. Always grossed me out. I've recently come around to tin fish, and now I love it.
So was everybody.
Was that a COVID thing? Was it a fishwife thing? Was it a?
It's an Anna Hezel thing. I'm just plugging my old.
Oh my gosh, I love
my old co-host of the show. Honestly, I don't love a tuna melt either. But what did you think?
I was pleasantly surprised that it was more than mush on mush.
Yeah, right.
I was with the sister snacking.
No way.
Yes. And so they explained to me, they are so delightful. And they explained to me that the reason why the S&P tuna melt is so good and why it should be my first one was because of the shell on the outside. They get just such a great crust. And so it's mush contained by a crispy, crusty, griddled shell. And that was pleasantly surprising.
Texture is a very important thing and very
I'm
much.
such a textures person.
Yeah.
I'm a textures first person. It was great. They deep fry their knishes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I never had a deep fried knish.
Yeah. They're usually so dried out and like kind of not great. I'm sorry. Editorializing here.
One man's opinion.
Yeah, one Jewish guy's opinion. Knish is not for me. No, but deep frying it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, but I do think that there is room in the world for a baked one too.
No, word.
Give me a Yonah Schnibbel any day.
Oh, yeah, Yonah Schnibbel's great. All right, I will go back to my original question though. Where do you like to go, having lived here, having a full history with New York? When you're back in town?
I love old New York. I mean, S&P fit right into that. I mean, I used to live on the Upper West Side, so Barney Greengrass, Zabar's. I'll go down to Russ and Daughters, and I love those places.
Yeah,
they're the best. And Bread's Bakery.
Oh yeah, Bread's.
That doesn't classify as old New York, but
I mean, it's now fabric. I mean, babka. Okay, you make babkas, a really, really good one.
Oh, I have a babka for you. I have a black sesame babka for you.
Oh wow, I'll remind you on the way out. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Very kind. Is there a better babka in the world than Bread's?
No.
Next question. Take me back to living in New York. I looked back and you wrote a short stack. And like it's probably one of your earlier cookbooks, right? Take me back to your food writing early. We didn't talk about this last time. Like, are you in school doing jobs and then blogging at night?
Yeah. I started my blog in my second year of college, and that just grew out of my love of keeping a diary and wanting to be in touch with my family back at home. And it wasn't initially supposed to be a food blog, but it quickly became clear that that's all I wanted to write about. So for a while I called it just a mostly food blog. I had my mostly food blog, and then there was one particular summer during college where I decided to go off book or off script, and rather than go to a music summer program, I decided to apply for internships in food writing. I got an internship at Time Out New York in the food section.
Oh, wow.
And that was
Gabby running it, or was Jordana?
Yes.
Gabby was.
They were both there,
oh, wow,
and
cool.
Daniel Gritzer.
Yeah.
And Chris
Schoenberg.
Yes.
Creator of Hot Ones.
Yes.
Gentleman created that show. Yeah.
And so it was crazy just being there, being around all of them. My first day, I got to take a taxi all around New York with a cooler to collect ice cream sandwiches from all of the best ice cream sandwich places in the city. And then I brought them back, and then Gabby and I got to taste them.
So cool.
It was so magical. But that was one day. A lot of it was fact checking and keeping up the restaurant database. And that was really cool too. It was I just took it all in. And I believe it was because of that I was able to get my first job out of college, which was at the Juilliard Journal. So I just stayed at Juilliard.
Yeah.
And I was their assistant editor for a couple of years. While I was at the Juilliard Journal, my editor there introduced me to Devra First at the Jewish Daily Forward, who gave me my first freelance writing assignments. And that was super fun. I remember writing about schnitzel and going to different food fests and covering it. And I was just everywhere. I rode my bike everywhere with a little notebook and wrote little blog posts about food. And then I developed my first recipes for the Jewish Daily Forward too.
Very cool. And that's where you started developing recipes.
Yeah.
And then you get into the short stack, the yogurt.
Yeah. Yogurt came after Molly on the Range.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of recovering from the burnout of writing Molly on the Range and spending 24 hours a day working on that thing. And then yogurt just felt like it had like the guardrails that a single subject cookbook
Yeah,
gives you. Because, there's so much that you can do with yogurt, but it also has to all contain yogurt. I really like it in the same way that I love cooking recipes that follow different dietary restrictions, or I love like Passover recipes. I love having the rules and the parameters. That was a lovely project to work on. I ate so much yogurt. My digestive system was on point.
You were clean.
I was clean.
I want to ask you about Bernie's, because when you were here last, you were like literally just opening it. And I was like, is this like the Favakin? This is like of the upper Midwest? It's like a destination restaurant. I was kidding at the time, but like I must imagine that Bernie's has a lot of Molly fans coming to say hi. What's the vibe like at Bernie's?
It's totally the opposite of Favakin.
All right.
Can you imagine like going out and hunting and here's your pastrami sandwich.
Lots of moss.
Lots of foraging mushrooms in the woods of Minnesota.
I mean,
that would be amazing.
Soon. Coming soon.
Magnus, if you're listening, please come and visit and teach me your ways. We do get I am always pleasantly surprised by when I go in there and I'm meeting a customer. And, at this point, I know all of the regular customers in town. And so I recognize so many people who come in. But I am so pleasantly surprised when people come in and I don't recognize them. And it's just very clear that they are not from Grand Forks. Yeah. And they tell me where they're from. And we get people from all over. And it is a lot of pressure. Yeah,
I bet. I mean, because you have to do other jobs, including family stuff, and you're not making every pastry.
No. Oh, no. I work closely with the kitchen to develop recipes, and they're really good at bringing my recipes to life. And then they also have their own ideas. That what I love is that they have come to me with so many ideas where initially I am like, no way, I will never put a chicken fried steak on my menu.
Yeah.
And then they put it in front of me and I taste it and it is delicious. So we put a chicken fried steak on our menu. I think it's doing really well.
And it kills, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you have a pastry case, I imagine, and you have like a full restaurant courses. But what's in the case right now? What's in the pastry case?
Well, right now we have the limited edition smiley face cookie from Sweet Farm.
Oh, I saw those. I was like,
did you grow up with smiley face cookies, or was that a Chicago thing? Okay.
No, it's a
They had
Midwest
those in
thing.
Kalamazoo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Because nobody in Grand Forks knew what I was talking about, but they're just so iconic for
every bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah, every bakery has a frosted smiley face. Meyer.
They're the best.
Meyer has it.
Meyer has it.
Meyer.
Love a Meyer.
I had to say Meyer that way.
Gotta go to Meyer.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we do a lot of just hearty, sweet, soft, like doughy, delicious things that are big. Everything is gigantic. I don't believe in small cookies. I would much rather have a gigantic cookie that you split in half and only eat half of than just having a small cookie and eating the whole thing, because then you can get way more doughy innards, chewy bits.
Yeah.
And so we have our big potato chip, chocolate chip cookies are big. We have a monster cookie that I snuck some tahini into. And we have great cardamom buns.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. I mean, in the book, your cookie recipes is like for 6. These are big cookies.
They're basically mini cookie cakes.
I mean, that's the way to go.
Because the center is the best part, right?
Definitely agree.
So just maximize that.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
I love that you write this book from the point of view of being in a farming family. Mm-hmm. Your husband runs a multi-generational sugar beet farm. And we talked about in the last episode about like what goes into sugar beet farming, which is really intense. And you write about it so colorfully and articulately in the book, and I love it. But it's cool to meet an author who actually makes sugar as well. It's like part of your business. I mean, what was it like writing a pastry book, a baking book, where sugar is so foundational, and having like, around back you got like this big farm that's making sugar basically.
It felt like a conflict of interest.
Okay, right.
But also, I mean, I wasn't going to not write it. And it just, truly, it made things more meaningful. Because one thing that my husband said to me very early on when we started dating, and we were talking about the farm, he said, the thing that I love most about farming is that we're making food that people have to eat. And that concept seems so simple, but at the same time, it's like, yes, like people need food to eat. There's only so many calories that we are set up to produce right now. I mean, it's a lot of calories, but this is necessary in the world. And he grows wheat too. And so just seeing it from start to finish and seeing what goes into this tiny, tiny granule of sugar and what it means for like what sacrifice it takes for family time and for just what kind of work hours it takes and all of the muddy, sleepless hours that go into creating this one ingredient makes you appreciate it a lot more. And so I felt like I was able to celebrate his work in the best way that I know how.
You also write about the big sweet elephant in the room, which is really, truly a funny way of putting it, but it's true. It's like literally when you're writing a baking book and every recipe is made with like a cup of sugar, you have to like address it that like, dessert is not for every meal. Or
No
maybe
way.
it is. I'm not going to judge, but how do you? It was really, really cool to see that kind of folded into the introduction of the book.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to BS anybody. I mean, it's not like sugar is unhealthy. It is physically unhealthy, and I am super into health and wellness, and I love reading books about just longevity, and I'm really into that stuff right now. At the same time, it is so important to celebrate. It is so important to have joy in life. You can't have a birthday without a cake. You can't have any sort of celebration without that sweet bite that is like the centerpiece of a celebration. And that to me is as healthy as a salad.
Yeah.
That to me, once in a while, when you're having those big celebrations, is as healthy as a bowl of kale.
Yeah, well said. I mean, we need sugar in our lives for
We do.
celebration. Yeah, I mean, I follow that. And maybe everyone listening, some may disagree, but we need to celebrate things.
Listen, I mean, like I personally don't eat a ton of sugar, but when I do eat sugar, it's got to be good. Nothing fake, nothing, like low sugar. Like I just want the good stuff. And that's what this book is. I mean, if I'm going to be having something sweet, it's got to be just the best version of a babka or the best version of a layer cake or a funfetti cake or whatnot. I would much rather have like one perfect slice of chocolate cake than like a Snackwell.
Yeah.
The Snackwell still
They can
exists.
take
R.I.P.
the
Snackwells.
stray on here. Snackwells can. We're not pro Snackwell. Yeah.
I think they don't exist anymore.
Oh, really? I used to have a lot. That's a lot of Snackwells.
Oh, yeah. Who didn't grow up with them?
I mean, the Devil's Food ones were
Yep.
always in my house.
So chewy.
They're not good.
So dry.
I'm Nomi Fry.
I'm Vincent Cunningham.
I'm Alex Schwartz, and we are Critics at Large, a podcast from The New Yorker. Guys, what do we do on the show every week?
We look into the startling maw of our culture and try to figure something out.
That's right. We take something that's going on in the culture now. Maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a book, maybe it's just kind of a trend.
And we expand it across culture as kind of a pattern or a template.
Join us on Critics at Large from The New Yorker. New episodes drop every Thursday. Follow wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention New York City listeners, I'm excited to share 2 upcoming live This Is Taste tapings that I think you're going to like, taking place at Rizzoli Bookstore in Manhattan's Flatiron District. On April 8th, I will be joined by Barbara Costello, better known through her Brunch with Babs social accounts. We will be talking about her brand new cookbook, Cooking with Babs, and on May 5th, I will be joined by photographer and journalist Craig Maude for a reading and conversation about his debut memoir, Things Become Other Things. I love this book so much and welcome you all in to hear his story about walking around Japan and so much more. Tickets are available at the Rizzoli website, rizzolibookstore.com. I hope to see you there.
Hey.
Bars. You are very pro-bar. It's a big section in the book. There's one section that's much smaller. We'll get to that in my point of view. Tell me about your sort of weird 7-layer bars and why you love bars.
the sort of weird 7-layer bars mean so much to me because they are inspired by one of my favorite restaurants of all time that just closed. A Scandinavian Jewish deli in Fargo, North Dakota.
It closed?
It closed.
Oh, no.
Birnbaum's, yeah.
You wrote about it so lovingly, and it was so vibrant.
And it was right after book went to print that it closed. But I once had this 7-layer bar there that was savory and sweet in the weirdest, most intriguing way because they used their everything bagel chips in the crust. And so there was garlic and onion in this sweet bar. It was so good. And something about a 7-layer bar traditionally is it's way too sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, but they're usually way too sweet. And this version was just not sweet. Or, I mean, it was perfectly balanced, I should say. It was not overly sweet. And so it's bagel chips. But buy the plain bagel chips and then add your own everything bagel. Because if you buy the everything bagel chips and then you're also trying to eyeball your own everything, it's just...
And everyone knows those chips, they can be extra coated.
Extra coated, extra salty. Like, you do the same thing that you would do with butter. Like, get the unseasoned and then control the seasoning that you're adding. Coconut in there, unsweetened coconut. You're getting enough sweetness from the chocolate chips, the butterscotch chips.
You're adding everything bagel spice?
Yes, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So like the poppy seeds.
Of course, we see it everywhere. It's great. So that's actually used as seasoning, what you're using plain bagel chips.
Yes.
Love that. I mean, so cool.
Uh-huh. Again, sort of weird.
I mean, it is, but it's like a little more savory, and I get it. And it's definitely, to me, a really smart way that you develop, and it's throughout this book.
Well, I just liked that I tasted this bar, and it was, from Birnbaum's, and it was a sensation that I had never had before, and it made me think about desserts in a completely different way.
You observe that lemon bars are often unceremoniously placed next to chocolate chip cookies on the pastry table at the cookie swap, and that's unfair to the lemon bar.
Poor lemon bars.
Lemon bars, that's sad.
It's sort of like the taco pizza. Do you have taco pizza?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Does taco pizza exist in New York?
It's not on like the slice counter. I'll tell you.
No,
that.
it's never on the slice counter. But you can't. I mean, when we go out for pizza, there's the barbecue chicken pizza. There's the taco pizza.
Yeah.
And taco pizza. When you're having a great slice of pepperoni, you cannot also put a slice of taco pizza on your plate because they just don't go. Whereas you could put any other slice of pizza on your plate with the pepperoni and it works. It's in the same flavor world. And it's the same thing with lemon bars. You can have a bite of a brownie or a blondie or a 7-layer bar or a scotcheroo, anything except a lemon bar is totally going to screw with your taste buds. So it's like you have to pick either you're going to have a lemon bar or any one combination of these other bars. It's rough.
It's rough going for the lemon bar. You, I'd say, remedy this because you have this recipe for a lemon bar that you're like, screw the other stuff, just make the lemon bar, right? What's the way that you do lemon bar, which is, of course, an iconic Midwestern dessert. Iconic.
It is iconic, but you really have to commit to it.
Yeah.
So I have 2 lemon bar inspired recipes. One of them is a mandarin orange bar with a toasted sesame crust. And those are really nice. They don't make you pucker as much as a lemon bar. And then there is a rhubarb rose bar that has some coconut oil in it in combination with the butter. And those are just a beautiful celebration of spring.
Yeah.
It's about to be rhubarb season.
It's happening.
I just realized.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
So when your husband's planting, and you write about this in the book, it's like March is planting. What's his life like? Planting these sugar beets?
Early mornings, late nights, not as crazy as harvest, but they're full days, and he is on a tractor for a lot of it.
I want to sprinkle in a little bit of this farming talk because it's important that we, represent the farmer.
It is nothing like what I imagined it was before I actually saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah.
This time of year is he's a little bit nervous because there wasn't enough snow. So the fields are dry.
Yeah.
And we just had some really bad wind, which really kind of messed up some of the dirt for some farmers in our region because there was just dirt flying everywhere, and soil conservation is such a huge, huge concern for them. Luckily, I think Nick's fields are okay, but I think it is going to make things challenging, the dryness of the soil once he gets in there.
All right, so Molly, tell me about cookie salad, and double tell me about blueberry cream cheese and bagel chip salad. You have a whole salad section.
Yeah, let's go there.
Which I love, and I really, I'm thinking when I grew up, I had like pistachio salads, pistachio pudding.
That's the best pudding. Isn't it so quirky that there's
quirky.
always pistachio and butterscotch pudding? Like those two flavors, you don't see consistently in other sweets.
And we had, of course, like canned fruit in there.
Yeah, and Cool Whip.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm going.
So was there a cookie in there too?
So there wasn't a cookie element from my memory, but there was a crunch.
What was the crunchy thing?
Pretzels, maybe?
Yum.
Yeah, pretty good, right?
That sounds good. So that
my grandmother was born in International Falls.
No way.
That's where she.
Okay, so you have it in your DNA.
Yeah, definitely.
You have cookie salad in your DNA.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Pistachio. What did you call it? Was that a fluff delight?
It was something in the delight
salad.
Fluff. Yeah, salad category.
I have a pistachio delight.
Love it.
Pistachio delight is
so good.
I love it so much. Salads. So you have the church cookbooks with the chapters on salads with maybe one or two of them having vegetables.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah, those are the best.
This was the single most fascinating genre of food for me when I moved to the region. And I was freaked out at first, not going to lie, but it's all in the name, right? If somebody had called this a trifle, or if my first salad experience had been with a delight or whatnot, I think I wouldn't have had such a strong reaction.
Yeah.
But how charming is it?
I mean, I think she called it ambrosia, to be honest. So
sure. Okay.
It's like of that ilk.
Yes.
So tell me about your cookie salad.
Yeah. So cookie salad is where I live. I would say it's probably the most common dessert salad. Keebler fudge stripes, Jell-O vanilla instant pudding.
Yes.
Usually you make the pudding with buttermilk.
I saw it was great.
Canned mandarins, Cool Whip. Fold it all together.
Yo.
And then, some people have the tradition, I should say some families have the tradition of putting the whole cookies on top. Some of them break them into little crumbles. Some of them just do half and stick them in like tombstones. There are many different styles of a classic cookie salad. It is one of our top sellers at Bernie's because we make it from scratch. We do a great vanilla bean, almondy pastry cream. Obviously, fresh whipped cream. You cannot beat it. And I like to stabilize it with some cream cheese and add that tanginess.
Very nice. Are you doing single serve or are you like scooping it out for each guest?
We do kind of big for the table bowls. Yeah.
Cookie salad for the table at
Cookie
Bernie's.
salad for the table with like a pile of spoons. And it's perfect to use up leftover cookies at the end of the day. If we have a slow day, cookie salad is to cookies what French toast is to bread. So it's a brilliant way of, eliminating food waste.
New York bakers out there listening, I know you're out there. I mean, let's see it on these menus in New York.
Hell
cookie salad. What a great idea.
Do you think anywhere in New York is making a cookie salad?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody will raise their hand and listening, but I have not spotted it.
I'm so happy.
Please write in if you're doing a cookie salad. I will highlight it on the show. We will follow up. And then there's that blueberry cream cheese and bagel chip salad. I love that.
So the pretzel strawberry salad, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's pretty common with like the Jell-O.
With the Jell-O.
Yeah,
and every time I make it, when I'm doing the cream cheese layer, I was like, well, if we're putting cream cheese on this, so where's the bagel? And if we're doing bagels and cream cheese and it's a sweet dessert, where's the blueberries?
Yeah.
It all fell into place.
It's a terrific recipe.
Thank you.
Let's settle this now. Molly, what is your official response to Grapegate in the New York Times? I believe this was like 2012, around there. I mean, I feel like you did this in the book, but I want to get it on pod.
I love it. It's delicious. I think it does represent so much of what Minnesota cuisine is about. And I think the fact that 99% of the state had not heard about grape salad is just a testament to how many of these hyper regional salads exist.
Remind us what the New York Times wrote about the grape.
Okay. So there was a big, beautiful article called The United States of Thanksgiving, where there was one recipe for each state.
What a crazy concept.
Yeah. And it was beautifully illustrated. It was actually, that's how I found my illustrator for all of my books, Liesl Ashlock. She illustrated all of these different dishes for each of the states. And I did the Lefse recipe, which represented North Dakota. And then the recipe that represented Minnesota was this grape salad, which is a bowl of grapes tossed with sour cream and sugar and cinnamon. I have never seen Midwesterners so mad.
Yeah, to be represented by the grapes in a bowl. It doesn't seem like you're stretching the culinary history of this beautiful place.
It's not, but this recipe does my favorite thing that recipes can do, which is take a few seemingly simple ingredients and make something that is way better than the sum of its parts. I mean, it actually is really good because you have the creaminess, you have that bright, juicy fruitiness of the grapes, and then the cinnamon is kind of holding it down. It's delightful and it's refreshing. The thing that it represents is the fact that everybody's family has a salad like this.
Yeah.
For my husband's family, it's my mother-in-law's egg salad that has more ranch and more mayo than you ever thought possible in an egg salad, and it's amazing. It's like these are the recipes that have the stories and are scribbled down on the note cards. And so it's like, okay, yes, I know that you've never heard of grape salad, but look at what it's representing.
And it sounds amazing, by the way, delicious. Like especially with the spices.
Great.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, well said about everyone having a salad and ranch in egg salad. I have to stop and ask.
Roxanne's egg salad
That is
a thing of beauty.
Wow, Roxanne.
Oh, I'm dreaming about it now. Yeah.
Roxanne. I mean, I love. Was that in any of your books? Have you ever written that recipe down? Or is that just Roxanne's?
I made it on Girl Meets Farm.
You made on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. I've never tried that combo.
Ranch on everything.
How did you end up with your carrot cake recipe? Eliza and I talk about carrot cake a lot on the show, and we both love it. And you went through it getting to this recipe.
Yeah, and that was for my dad. My dad loves carrot cake, and there's this carrot cake near him where he lives that is really, really tall, and he just went through this phase where he couldn't stop talking about this carrot cake. And that year for his birthday, I think he was turning 60, I wanted to make a carrot cake recipe because I had never done that before. Carrot cake was never like my first cake.
Yeah.
But I went through this really fun process of making every type of carrot cake that I could find that was highly rated or that I could find in books. And, I tried with the canned pineapple in it and the coconut, and I tried them all, tried browning the butter, and I found some really great cakes. And the thing that I felt like was very authentic to me was using Hawaiiage, which is a spice that is pretty nostalgic for me. And it's essentially a very, very cardamom heavy pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
And so it has a lot of the same flavors that you would typically put into a carrot cake, plus so much cardamom. And the cardamom for me is that's home. And orange blossom water snuck into the frosting. I think that was a suggestion from Max, one of our earlier bakers at Bernie's, which I thought was so brilliant and so delicious. And the floral, almost bitter notes truly help to balance the sweetness of the cake. And between the orange blossom water and the Hawaiiage, it felt like pistachios and sesame seeds were the correct crunch in the cake.
It's amazing that you put Hawaiiage in a carrot cake. I mean, I've never seen that combination. I'm sure it's been done, but I'm really amazed by that. It's beautiful.
It's about the cardamom for me, and the flavors make sense. Oh, I wish I.
I'll bake it, and
Okay.
I'll tell you about it because I love carrot cake. Now, there's two recipes or two ideas in the book that I wanted to ask you about. That you're kind of bringing this information to us that I would say you might feel a little squeamish when thinking about it holistically, but it actually really works and you stand by it. The first is just adding full-fat coconut milk to cake batter and not having a tropical flavor profile.
Oh.
And the other one is Velveeta. Those bricks of Velveeta work themselves in. So these are like kind of like
Velveeta. I truly just feel like a messenger of this recipe.
Your name is on it though.
I know. I mean,
Okay, don't kill a messenger. I get it. Don't shoot the messenger.
I had to share this recipe. It is in a handful of books in our region, and I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. But then I started talking about it with people, and I remember the woman who altered my wedding dress was over at her house one night getting my alterations done, and like her husband was making Velveeta fudge, and I thought, wait, I had just read a recipe. I thought that was a joke, and now you're making it. He said, no, it's really good, and it's really easy, and it does this thing where you're getting these savory notes that are a little bit caramelized. Sort of.
Yeah. Umami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the texture is
It's a texture idea,
texture
right? You're
thing.
taking this like industrial cheese and you're putting it into a chocolate fudge, and you're not getting cheese, you're getting this texture of this creaminess that you really want in fudge.
Yeah. You think there's protein in there?
A form of. I don't know which one. I love that recipe. I really want to try it. And then the other one was just adding coconut milk to cake batter, but not being afraid of it. You have a really great explanation.
I mean, it adds such a beautiful richness, such great moisture. It makes it dairy-free. But that was one of the first things that I really tinkered with when I was getting into recipe development. And I was at Juilliard and I was making all my friends' birthday cakes. And I don't know, I must have ran out of whole milk one day. And I added coconut milk to this chocolate cake that I made for my friend that I brought to the bar. And I was just so stunned by how fudgy it was. Yeah. It just made for the greatest texture. I also consider coconut to be one of the great underrated all-purpose flavors, right up there with vanilla or lemon. I mean, coconut really ought to be a lot more common than it is. And I do sneak it into almost every single one of my cakes, typically in the form of coconut oil, because I think that the warmth of the coconut oil complements butter and enhances it in a way that just gives it warmth and complexity that is not present at the forefront. It just kind of adds this glow.
Yeah, right. I follow it. It's great.
It's subtle. It's not like that cake that you mentioned. It's not a coconut cake.
No, it's not.
It just has this buttery, velvety warmth to it, along with that soft texture. That is just really nice.
Love that. I feel like we should be baking more with coconut products, coconut in general. I love that.
Coconut forever.
It's noticeable, Molly, that the pie section is extremely small and near the end of the book. And also it's noticeable that you wrote in the introduction that you do not like pies, really. I mean, how do you, which is amazing. This is your book. You get to decide with the recipes. Why don't you like pies?
Because I'm a cake person.
Yeah.
You know, I also just love crust. I love crust so much more than the filling, and I feel like I should be embarrassed about that when I'm eating a pie and I'm just scraping some of the filling out so that I can get a better ratio of crust to filling. Pie people seem to be like they are so in touch with how something feels and the seasons, and there is something a little bit otherworldly about a pie genius that I cannot wrap my head around. I love straight lines and perfect 90-degree angles and everything that a rustic pie crust is not.
It makes your skin crawl?
A little bit.
Yeah. I'm getting that vibe just looking at you.
But I mean, there are pies that I can get down with, namely ones that are heavy on the crust.
Yeah, right.
So I've got a slab pie in there.
I saw.
Which is like
Very
two
cool.
huge, thick things of crust with a little bit of filling. And then I love a pudding pie. I'm not as big of a fruit person.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. The fruit
person.
pie realm is not you, and you make that statement.
Are you a pie person?
Absolutely not. I'm a cake person. Jeez. I mean, peach pie is amazing if you get it right, and then cherry pie,
sure.
like the summer.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, sure. No, yeah, sure.
So we're gonna call it puppy chow and not call it the other name because you and I, Midwest.
Muddy Buddies? Is that the other?
Yeah, muddy. You don't even know. Muddy Buddies.
Oh, is that the name?
Yeah, exactly. We don't even know.
Yeah, what's wrong with that name?
It's a wonderful name, but Midwestern people call them puppy chow.
It was always puppy chow.
It's always, and you do one here that is really cool. You add some elements that I like. Tell me about it.
Furikake.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, something that I had fun with in this book was delivering salt in alternative vehicles. So like potato chips instead of salt on the chocolate chip cookie, or actually I end up doing both. Or like miso is such a great salty addition in desserts. And furikake just adds this special ocean quality that goes well with the furikake or with the puppy pie thing.
If I'm at Meyer in Kalamazoo and I'm saying, would you like to add some ocean elements to your puppy chow if I'm there like December 15th? I'm not sure that would.
Don't you want to be transported to Hawaii?
Yeah, I mean,
with your puppy chow.
That is the sell. We've just like workshopped the pitch.
There's the pitch. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little more like
Hawaiian puppy chow.
That's it. Oceanic. I'm into it. I love that flavor profile. Maybe not for the Midwest.
Puppy chow of the sea.
Puppy chow of the sea. Molly, and this is Taste We Ask Guests Brother Discerning Taste. So to close this interview, here's a little rapid fire, fast and furious taste check. Are you ready?
Ready.
The best fruit.
Cotton candy grapes.
Into it. Those are great.
So good.
Yeah.
Also wild blueberries.
Yeah, wild blueberries. Very limited season.
Not if they're frozen.
Oh, yeah.
We get them frozen.
Yeah, you got to get them frozen. That's fine. The worst vegetable.
You know what? I've gotten some really buggy Napa cabbages lately.
Yeah.
I love Napa cabbage. But when they're buggy.
Do you have a typical breakfast?
Chia pudding with wild blueberries.
Yeah.
Blackberries, sometimes raspberries. A mixture of hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, cacao nibs, coconut, walnuts, maybe half of a Brazil nut if I need some selenium, almond butter, cinnamon.
Love that. Is this like a daily ritual?
Every single day. Yeah. Every single night I make chia pudding with chia seeds, almond protein powder, and coconut milk. And then I have it the next day.
Have you done that recipe anywhere?
That's
really
the recipe.
That's the recipe. You just did the recipe on the show. All right. The best dessert.
A chewy frosted cookie.
How much frosting is too much frosting? Is there an answer for a cookie?
I like a ratio of 2 to 3 frosting to cookie ratio.
Yeah, 2 to 3. Is there a restaurant you wish you could bring back from the dead?
Sammy's Romanian?
Breaking news.
What?
It's back.
No.
It's back.
No.
Yeah, it's back.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, it's back. For real. Is there a second one?
Birnbaum's.
Yeah, Birnbaum's from back at your home.
Fargo,
okay.
yeah.
When you're craving fast food, what's the move?
Culver's.
Oh, sick. I love that one.
Culver's is so good. They're the best. I mean, I feel like In-N-Out gets all of the attention, but
Culver's is great.
God bless a Culver's.
Your favorite city outside America to visit for food?
Tel Aviv.
Amazing. Do you have a favorite spot?
All of them.
Very cool. Last one, your favorite sandwich?
The Gobbler from the Milburn Deli.
Oh.
In Milburn, New Jersey. Have you ever had one?
I haven't.
It's a Thanksgiving sandwich.
Yeah.
It's on soft rye, and they cut it into thirds.
Oh, wow.
It's huge. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
I mean, Milburn's got some classic spots. I know that.
Oh, see, I haven't tried any of them because if ever I'm in Milburn, I go straight for the Gobbler.
You just know there's only one place and it's for the Gobbler.
Yeah.
Okay.
But really classic spots?
Yeah, like pizza. There's some good pizza in Milburn.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, that's on the side.
Milburn food tour.
I'm going to do that. Molly, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining this
Thank
Taste.
Thank you so much, Matt.
What's up, Eliza? How are you?
I'm good, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm good. We're going to talk about 3 things here. What's your first thing?
My first thing is Besher O'Dell's new book, Hunger Like a Thirst. You know about this book, obviously.
Yeah, it's super excited. I love Besha. I've known her for 15 years. Amazing book.
So she's an iconic food writer. She was one of the last anonymous restaurant critics, and she's kind of spanning her entire career from growing up working in the restaurant industry, being on food stamps, trying to break into the food writing world through various different avenues, and then eventually becoming an on-staff critic at LA Weekly, and later on writing for the New York Times as well. I always love reading kind of period-specific media books, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reading the Graydon Carter memoir right
Yes.
now, which is exactly that shit or Tina Brown or whatever. But Besha comes from a very unique part of food media, following Jonathan Gold as the critic at LA Weekly, right? And fitting into that LA food scene and with great change with Eater and other publications kind of surpassing print media. I mean, I'm sure there's some of that in there.
Where I'm at in the book right now, she's kind of breaking into the mainstream a bit more. She is stepping into the food critic role for Creative Loafing at Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta, that's
yeah,
right.
And that's her first time being an on-staff critic, eating 4 nights out a week, booking in disguise, kind of talking about the way that contemporary restaurant criticism has been established in this country and changed over time. And it's really enjoying to read. I like it.
I forgot about her Atlanta era.
Yeah.
I think her and Bill Addison have a little bit of parallel track going in Atlanta and LA.
Yeah. And where I just read her, meeting Bill Addison and striking up this kind of lifelong friendship and professional interest in each other's work.
I mean, Besh is just one of the I would say sharpest writers voice-wise and just a tenacious reporter. I always thought that her reviews were like Wells in many ways, just so well reported and thoughtful and not about the hot take, which I really respect with criticism. And I just love Besh. I can't wait to read this book.
Yeah. So what's your first thing?
My first thing is I was hanging out with Carolina Gellin, a terrific cookbook author here at Clarkson Potter. She has a great book, Pass the Plate. But I'm not going to talk about her cookbook. I'm going to talk about her morning coffee choice because she's absolutely changed the way I'm thinking about a coffee order, which is pretty remarkable.
Okay. I'm very interested to hear more.
There are times for the pour over, right? Or there's times for the drip in the morning. But there are other times when you want a little bit of milk with your coffee. You want a flat white. You want a cortado. You want a little bit of richness with that espresso. But with that, when there's too much dairy, it can be really a rough hang. For example, when the iced latte, and I'm going to talk about an iced drink here, is all milk in just one shot. No one wants to drink that much milk. We want an iced drink with a little bit of milk, but more espresso. So how about this order? She ordered it. I'm like, this is my new order. Double espresso over ice. And this is the key part. You tell them drop of milk. You don't say with milk. You say a drop of milk or a whisper of milk.
Whisper of milk is quite the thing to say to your barista.
I think they would be into it. And I just think it's for that time if you or you can do your own drop if you want. I never really thought about iced espresso with a little bit of milk to replicate the cortado without all that dairy.
Yeah, so it's basically like an iced cortado, iced macchiato kind of situation.
It's an iced macchiato, but with even less milk.
Interesting. This reminds me of my lifelong quest to order a bagel with just a little bit of cream cheese. That's the phrasing that I've developed because
Right.
if you say light cream cheese, then they give you the half fat stuff. But I want just a light schmear of cream cheese.
Yeah.
So every time I order my bagel, I'm tweaking my language so I can try to get my preferred ratio.
My coffee order has been a splash of milk, but that sometimes throws people off.
Well, is it like a belly flop splash or is it a dive splash?
Yeah, a tidal wave splash. No, sometimes I never quite get it. What's your next thing?
My next thing is that I went to a new coffee shop to me that I really liked over the weekend. It's called Selva. It's a day-to-night kind of coffee shop that turns into a wine bar at night, and it's operated by the folks who do The Bunker, which maybe you've heard about is like a long-running party series here in New York. So they have really great music, really great speakers, DJ decks set up in the back at night when it's more of the wine bar setup. Cocktails, they have like DJs playing. But I just went in the afternoon on Sunday for a coffee. I felt like it would be a really good place to sit and work. They have a lot of seating, and I especially like the pastries that they're doing.
Cool.
They're doing South American pastries, and specifically their specialty, this guy told me, is the pan de bono, which is a cassava cheese kind of circular bread that's popular in Colombia. I love pan de bono. It's so squishy and savory inside. My friend said that it reminded them of like Smart Pop white cheddar in terms of that
Oh, wow.
flavor.
Like
It's a
it.
little like dusty on the outside also, but mostly it's about the squish and the chew, almost like a mochi consistency.
Yeah.
I really like this, and I find it hard to find outside of like Jackson Heights or other places in Queens. So pan de bono at Selva and Bushwick.
Selva and Bushwick, really, really cool rec. My next thing is a book, and I've been waiting to have this author on, and we haven't recorded the session yet. We're going to be doing it soon. It's Syme's Letter Writer by Rachel Syme, and I really, really love this book. When I first got it, I was like, okay, what's up with the book about letter writing? But then if you know Rachel's work, she writes a lot for The New Yorker and other publications. It's just full of voice, it's full point of view, and of course, deep reporting. This book is all about the letter and about the different ways we write letters, the different formats. And in a very conversational way, she talks about writing a fan letter, sending recipes via letter. She talks about typewriters, and she has a great homage to her Nakajima AE710 and the whole, the typewriter collecting milieu that we see around our country. That's just a few of the moments in this really richly reported book that really jumped out to me. Again, Rachel's going to be on the show at some point, and we'll get to talk about it more, but I really just love this book.
I really want to read it, and typewriters makes me think about, I just watched Sing Sing over the weekend because it's now streaming, and there's a great typewriter kind of through line in that book.
Oh, I want to see that. Was it good?
It was so good, Matt. I was so moved by Coleman Domingo, the way that it's shot, the story itself, which is based in this, true story about this theater program at Sing Sing and other prisons around the country. It's not one of my three things, I guess, but I would recommend it to everyone, and it's now on HBO.
I can't wait to watch it. I remember when it came out, I was like, this really speaks to me, and somehow passed by. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like it didn't necessarily get like the Academy Awards attention that it deserved. Like Coleman was nominated, and I think that was very well deserving. But the entire cast is so talented, and they all are people who themselves went through this theater program in prison, and they just, I don't know, I can't keep my eyes off of anybody. It was so good.
I'm going to check it out. What's your last thing?
My last thing is another kind of like cafe moment. I was at dinner party over the weekend in Fort Greene, which, started at one kind of smaller space and moved to this bigger space on Hall Street. They do a set menu for dinner every night of the week, and it was kind of based out of this idea of wanting it to feel like you're going to a dinner party at like a friend of a friend's house. On the weekend, they do open cafe hours, so you can come by for a coffee and pastries, focaccia sandwich, good things like that. I had a really good rhubarb coffee cake, which, I'm on my rhubarb hunt right now.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of what I was looking for. Almost like a fluffy, squishier cake, still warm with that rhubarb mixed into the crumble on top. And there was a really cute flower arranging workshop that was happening when I was there that the florist at dinner party was doing, with flowers that were donated from Ground Cycle, which is a cool like upcycling, recycling initiative in New York. They partner with like wedding florists or like the Botanical Garden Orchid Show, all of these different places that have extra flowers, and then kind of repurpose them into secondary homes. I saw some of my friends live in the neighborhood that were there to do this flower arranging workshop. I walked in and I was like, is this a normal amount of flowers for the restaurant, or was it extra?
It's fun.
But it was really cute. And I was there having coffee with my friends, Xander and Gala, who do a zine called Third Place Zine, which is about like the built environment and spaces and third places and how we interact. And it felt like a very kind of fitting setting for us to be talking about magazines.
Does Dinner Party have a chef?
They do. They have a couple chefs. My friend Julie Saha is one of the chefs there. I think there's maybe a couple people in that kitchen, depending on whether it's like the weekend or the kind of dinner experience. But they always do really kind of seasonal cool things.
I've wanted to go. I read a little press about them, and it sounds really progressive and cool way to do a restaurant concept, having different formats during the weekend. And I mean, flower arranging, just walking in, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I took a little rose and brought it home with me, as well as one of their kind of like pistachio chocolate chip cookies, which was really melty and delicious.
Love a pistachio. So
all good things. What's your last thing?
Well, speaking of baked goods, I'll close with kind of a different one. We know Wonder Bread, right? You know Wonder Bread.
Yes.
Wonder Bread. It's actually in our logo, which is cool. It's not because I love Wonder Bread so much. It's more that I thought it was iconic American and iconic food item. That's why it's in the logo. We're actually updating our logo. It'll be up in a couple weeks. But Wonder Bread has some news, and I was really interested in it. They launched their first new product in 100 years.
What is it?
Which is kind of amazing. It's actually more than one product. It's a line of products. So they're pivoting from bread, or not pivoting, but expanding they're going into big snack cake. And they've launched a really, really interesting range of products, from glazed honey buns. They're doing powdered and frosted mini donuts. They're doing pecan cinnamon twists. But the kicker to me is really a cream-filled cupcake in chocolate and confetti flavors, which has a striking resemblance to the Hostess cupcake. And I think that the snack cake wars have begun. Wonder versus Hostess. Let's bring it on. But I actually they sent me all the products. This is like totally transparently, they sent me the products. And I've never had this many snack cakes in my house. And fuck, they were good. I really, really liked them. When you get cakes sent to you from the factory, it like hits different.
Yeah. I'm looking at them right now. When you started saying that they were creating a new product, I thought maybe they would be going into the like healthier bread kind of route. Because I don't know. Like, I think, Wonder Bread is known for being like very processed. And I think that there's been a lot of kind of interest in whole grains and things like that. But I like that they are instead doubling down on the processed bread angle, because they know what they're known for.
They know what people want, and they maybe want an alternative to Hostess, because Hostess is maybe not the mostest. It's definitely not my favorite. And I felt like this quality of the Wonder Bread snack cupcake with cream and confetti really, really spoke to me.
Was that your favorite out of everything you tried?
Yeah, by far. I mean, I think like the buns, like I don't really have glazed honey buns too often, like the bodega style, like the Entenmann style. Mm-hmm. That was really good. I've never really gotten the box of I've never really gotten the bag of donuts. Have you ever done that?
Like the Entenmann's box
of
donuts?
Like the powdered mini ones?
Yeah, I don't know if I've specifically purchased it, but I think if you go through life, like they're just around.
They're around, yeah. They're like,
and I eat them
at your friend's house for Sunday breakfast.
Yes.
Like they're just there. Very good. Like I've never really had a lot of these products, but I did think the cupcake was what really...
If you're going to like a classic donut shop, what's your order?
Oh, easy. I always get a Long John, as we call them in the Midwest.
Like the long maple ones?
Yeah, but I don't do maple. I do chocolate and cream. Boston
See, you
cream.
like a chocolate cream. That's why you're going for this mini donut.
Yes. Very good follow-up question. You got into my psychology. What is your order?
I feel like a donut psychologist. It depends on the place. I do like an apple fritter a lot. At Peter Pan Donut Shop in Greenpoint, I like the coconut ones that they do. Yeah. I like them to be like a little nutty. I do like a maple donut. My favorite donut growing up was Stan's Donuts, which is a long-running LA institution, which in recent years franchised only one location in Chicago in Wicker Park randomly.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it was right across the street, the LA one, from my orthodontist. So whenever I would go get my braces tightened, my dad would take me to get donuts after.
Oh, that's a nice memory.
Which I don't think really is what dentists are here for, but it was worth it to me. And they do something called a peanut butter pocket. That's like a stuffed donut that has peanut butter and banana inside. So that is my like god tier donut.
My choice is always peanut butter and jelly at Donut Plant. When they opened on the Lower East Side and now they expanded to Brooklyn, to me, Donut Plant, that's like the number one.
We should do something else with donuts, honestly.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're so good. And in LA, there are so many like 24-hour donut places that I grew up going to that I have a real kind of soft spot for them.
Is it Winchell's?
Winchell's is one. There are a lot of like Cambodian immigrant-owned donut shops in LA. DK's Donuts is one on the west side that I would go to. I think that they have kind of a chain of that. They're just kind of, I don't know, every good strip mall has a donut place, I would say.
Absolutely. And of course the big chains are there too. Let's do a donut week. I think we've settled it here.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your three things.
You too.
This is Taste is hosted and produced by Eliza Barbanel and me, Matt Rodbard. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Logo and guest illustrations by Ellie Skurzat. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.